Awesome. We are recording. We are talking today about this whole going silver business, what it means for your business, how it can possibly change what you're doing right now as far as regular life goes. There's a lot of things we want to talk about, and I'm really glad that we've got so many people that have joined us. And Justina, are you in a place where you can unmute yourself? Maybe?
Unmuted.
Okay, you can talk, right?
Yes, I can.
We didn't
Sorry.
Okay, we didn't tell you that you were going to be talking.
No, you didn't.
No, sorry. So a couple of us just want to talk a little bit about just a short business testimony, just what silver basically started for us. And so maybe I'll let Justina start because you look like Paisley's doing good there.
Yeah.
She's not yelling at you right now. But what we want to share with you guys is that, you might see your leaders and it looks like we never struggled with something, or it looks like you don't get to see the picture of what it looked like for us to start the ball rolling. You don't know what that looked like for us. You don't know what going silver looked like for us. So we want to try to tell you and have you understand that we were in a place very similar to where you're at, and we understand it. We've been there, and so we've pushed through and different things like that. So Justina, can you just tell us, like 2 minutes, what it looked like when you went silver, how long maybe it took you, and then what kind of chain reaction that kind of set off, and let us know what rank you are now.
Hear me. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
She's had some anger issues with me, so you guys will just have to excuse. Okay, so for me, going silver was a little bit different. When I first signed up, I told Eva, I'm not doing the business. She says, I know, but she said, can you at least sign up 3 people to cover your costs? And I said, well, I can't even sign up. I don't have $34.95 to sign up. And she's like, okay, so for the month of December, she says, look for a few people to sign up or be your customer for the month of January, because she says, we'll sign you up December 31st, and then in January, your costs will be covered. And so I did all the month of December. That's all I did. I just focused on looking for people. I wasn't even signed up yet. And I signed up 2 people on January 1st. Then I had some customers, so my cost was covered. I recommend that to everyone. Even if you have new people who say, oh, I can't afford it, I don't want to do the business. Say, you know what, just look for a few people this month before we sign you up, and then we'll sign you up on so-and-so date. Still the same month, right? And then sign them up in the first of the next month, get them to sign those people up. So I had 2 people signed up, and then I just got kind of comfortable there because I said I was going to do the business. So I didn't actually go silver till beginning of March. So a month and a half later, 2 months later, I went silver. And then a friend of mine showed interest in signing up, so she signed up, and I went silver. Kind of an accident, actually. And then my sister-in-law signed up somebody, and that it just seemed like from there on, all of a sudden, within 2 months, I had like 8 people signed up under me, 9 people, and by the middle of the summer, I was gold. And it just all of a sudden things started happening without me wanting them to, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this business, I'm going to start working, right? And I think I didn't sign up like super rock stars. Okay, I hope there's no guys on here because I'm just going to nurse my baby. Keep her quiet. Anyway, I think if we understood how much going silver gets the ball rolling, then you would just do it. Go look for people. I mean, spend an hour a day looking for new people, but also, especially if you're new, you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of family. I avoided my family for the most part because they have their health things. But yeah, sometimes family is not the best place to go, right? But you have lots of friends. You probably have school teachers. You probably have school bus drivers. List them all out in, sorry, I'm way past 2 minutes. Okay, anyway. Long story short, go look for your people, sign up 3 people. It is actually far more simple than we make it out to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? You find that once you make the decision to start opening your mouth, people just fall into your lap. You're like, oh,
yeah.
well, I can think of this person, and what about this person, and then what about this person, right? So Marge, do you want to share a little bit with us as well?
For sure. My story is a little bit similar to what Justina talked about. I was desperately seeking for health answers, and just the thought of putting more work on my plate, like more work than what was already happening in my life, just made me go, like, I said to Eva, don't even bother telling me about it. My plate is full. I was a full-time working mom. There was no room for a business. I didn't even consider the thought. But amazing things happen when we actually get bitten by the Plexus bug, especially when you start feeling better. It's not starting a business when you naturally share. And I actually started growing my business without that. I did. The other day, I actually went through and looked at my downline and what the time frame had been of when I had actually gone silver. And whenever me and Eva are talking, when I joined December 31st of 2013, my goal was to get my health results happening and my family. Sheila was my next target. And I always say that first summer, I had life like we hadn't had in years. Eva always says, I dropped off the map. Well, miraculous things were happening in her life. It took me 8 months to go silver. The only thing I did was live my life. I just showed people how incredibly changing this can be health-wise. That was only one aspect, only health-wise. Now, what if I had started sharing right away, right? And gotten people on board with me and did that with them right away instead of waiting 8 months and letting them watch. Like, I would have been so much further. So don't do what I did. Go grab a few people. Just like Justina said, it's not like you're adding work to your plate. It's not like you're doing something you haven't already been doing. It's being consistent with your products. It's sharing what it's doing for you. Everyone's journey will be different. Everyone will have different results in a different time frame, but we're still all doing the same thing, right? So when you're sharing and telling people, look, this is what I'm doing. I would love for you to be with me on this. Let's do it together, and let's see where we're going to end up in a year, right? And it's like Janelle says, things start falling into your lap. That's the long and short of my silver story. So
awesome. Now, Marge, can you tell us what rank you're at now?
We just made it to Emerald in May. So that has been a long time coming and incredibly, I have a hard time putting into words. It's gratefulness. One word is gratefulness. Like, when I think of my mindset of back then, December 2013, and where we started to where we are now, 3.5 years later, and having this accidental business and unintentional things happening in our life that has just made such incredible changes. The lives that we have been able to be a part of, to see the changes happen to as well. Unthinkable.
Very cool.
All starts from silver, right?
Absolutely. Justina, and would you tell us what rank you just hit at the end of May?
Sure. I hit Ruby in May at convention. Stressful.
So
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
it was awesome.
These two women were amazing. They both ranked up at convention. So that was so awesome. Justina, really quick, are there a couple things that are happening now in your life financially that you never would have imagined could have been possible before Plexus came into your life?
Absolutely. Okay, that's a fun one for me. Okay. So I don't even know if I should share this part. Should I share it?
Yes, you should.
Okay. All right. So I'm my sister-in-law sitting here beside me, and she's just kind of, I think, laughing at me. Okay. Okay. So there's been oftentimes, you know how, when we started out financially, we were not when we got married, we often had to get help by other people. So our dream was always to help other people. But you know how you struggle, you pay your bills, boom, you're out of money. Is that my baby screaming? Okay, sorry. Distractions of a mom. And we were always on We can never help people out. So this last month, we were able to buy somebody a vehicle because they were struggling so much. And it was just like, you know how much fun that was for my husband and I? Very much fun. Like we split it in half with somebody else because it was like a really expensive vehicle. So anyway, still like we could have never ever imagined doing this for someone else before. So that gives you a little picture of what we can do now. If your dream is to help other people out, there you have it. That was huge for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we bought a place. Sorry. I was going to say we bought a place and we are able to do jiu-jitsu as well. So those are all things we dreamed about. We just figured they were just dreams. They'd stay that way, right? Lots of amazing stuff. Sorry. I'll stop now.
Awesome. Okay. So Marge, tell us something that you guys are able to do financially now that you never thought. I mean, you can also tell us about the freedom, right? Because you were working full time, but you haven't told us that now you don't. So tell us that you don't, and then tell us how it's changed things.
This is my second summer at home. And I still, when I wake up in the morning, May 2015, I left my job. And when I wake up in the morning, I still, through my brain, very often think, what day is it today? And, oh, right, I don't have to go anywhere. I can stay home. It's a freedom I will, I think, never take for granted because so many years were structured, scheduled, go, go, go. You have to be here. The kids have to be there. And especially summers as a working mom. The kids would be home from their holidays or from school holidays. And I would still have to maintain a schedule. I would still have to have things going for them, have lists and have, we have to be here then and then. We have to do this then and then. No, I can't do that because I have to be at work. Things would not happen because mom was working. Mom is no longer working. Freedom, I don't even know where to begin. Like that is, again, such an incredible change. So I was a working mom for over 17 years, pretty much all my life. I've always done something on the side. At times it was, hauling my kids along. And then throughout the years, it was off and on a little bit as we were having babies. And then our last baby, I worked up until 8.5 months pregnant and went back a year after. Worked until May 2015. So freedom as in not running a schedule. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. That's, setting your business hours, working as works around your life. That's incredible, absolutely incredible. But freedom financially, we were a double income family for a reason. We were a double income family because my husband was always out working in logging, and it's something that takes them away 6.5 days a week. I did not want that for my kids, so we decided to both take an in-town job, and he went to work for a lot lower wages so that we could keep our family together. That's hard. We all still know that we have to pay our mortgage, we have to pay our bills, we have to eat, we have to live, right? So we were like Dave Ramsey people. Our kids had to buy stuff for themselves really early on. Sheila went to work summer of grade 9 and, did a job that winter because we encourage our kids to make their own money because any dollars coming into the household helped, right? We were strictly scheduled, and it's very hard to give in that manner because you'll see needs around you, and nothing you would like to do more is to just help them out. And often it's $100. Often it would be like $50. Often it would be, a simple helping them out with a meal at the restaurant or something. And you're not able to do that because you're budgeted so strictly in order to keep from falling behind. Falling behind, well, we know catching up is near to impossible. Those freedoms now, the other day I shared with my team, and I'm not going to carry on too long, but I shared with my team the other day that there's a family in town here that has a very large family, 9+ children, young father, and he's struggling with stage 4 cancer. And we were at the restaurant just hanging out with friends, and we saw them there, greeted them, and I walked out, didn't think twice about it. John was paying. That night, we were talking about them, and they had chosen some alternative treatments, and we were talking about they were, packing up their family and going to Edmonton for this alternative treatment, how hard that would be to pack up a family of that size and go and do, this burden of cancer, right? And John just casually mentioned, yeah, I actually went and paid their meal. And I'm like, oh, I just sat down on the bed and I thought, oh my goodness. That was a family of 11 people, I think like 11 or 12 people in a restaurant. We never would have been able to do that. Now it wasn't even mentioned. It was just done, right? And it wasn't even something that would ever, it was just giving. That's it. And you can do that because of the share of giving. So when you talk about, our CEO says, if you've been blessed, be a blessing, you're able to be that. No amount of money will ever take away that feeling of being able to be a blessing for someone else. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
I want to throw something in there about that. Neil and I were talking about that last week when one of his family was like, seriously, you guys act like money is just, you don't think about it, you don't talk about it, it's just like not a big deal to you guys as much as it used to be. I'm like, you know what? I want to throw this out for all of you out there. Some of you might be afraid of wealth, because I know I was, because you're afraid it's going to change you, and you're afraid that you're going to become greedy and selfish or whatever people have put into your head. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're giving and sharing and loving and kind and thoughtful of people now, no matter where you're at financially, you're going to get more so the more money you have, and you're going to think less about money. I find poor people think about money all the time, and people that are like one of my best friends, she says we don't think about money. Because we don't have to stress about it. So your mind isn't on money all the time. The wealthier you get, you're not just thinking money, 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 because all of a sudden it's just not a big deal. You pay somebody's meal, you're not going, oh my goodness, I hope I can pay my next bill because I paid someone's meal. You're not even thinking about it. It's just second nature, right? I'm going to pay their meal. So I think truly, it depends on what your heart is now.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. And we all know, when you, and this isn't, I don't want this to all be about money, because it's afforded us a lot of other freedoms, but I want to just camp there for just 2 seconds. My silver story I just shared in our silver group yesterday, but just a very, very quick recap, because I can actually do that, is that I had been on the product for 1.5 years before I decided to share, because I just assumed that nobody wanted to know. And I know now that I was very, very wrong. And that was a very selfish view that I had, that I didn't want to put myself out there. And that was what it really came down to, is that I didn't want to put myself out there for somebody to tell me that they weren't interested in what I was doing. But now it has become so much more important, because I realize that there are so many people who are either struggling desperately with their health, or they're struggling desperately financially. And this hits 2 birds with 1 pretty pink stone. It works for everything. And so as a single income family who, my husband works shift work, I homeschool our 4 kids. We didn't have the extra money to put into Plexus, but my husband said to me, I will make sure that you have this product, because he knew how well it changed my life. And then when I decided to start sharing, it was this crazy turn of events, and how people just kept on falling into my lap. And there were more and more people that were coming all the time who wanted to know what I was doing, who wanted to know why I was feeling so good, who, that kind of thing. And now we're a Ruby Ambassador team, which is very exciting, but I can attest to the money part now too. Even just this last month, we've only just gotten our paycheck. So, it's just sort of been numbers in the air, right? I've known how much we were going to make. But we've been much more relaxed. We went away to family camp, and I bought books at the bookstore at camp, and it was okay, right? Normally, and I'm being very, very honest. I hope that you guys know that about me, is I try to be very transparent. The love of books in me would sometimes override my common sense. And so I would buy the books, and then we would have to cut and rework the budget because I was careless and bought too many books, right? And I can say that because I'm not perfect, and I never ever want you guys to think that I am. But this year it was okay, right? Like the purchase of books, it didn't matter. We didn't have to change the grocery budget or the fuel budget. And it has been so nice to be able to talk about, paying down bills that we've had or debt that we've had, or dreaming about what we can do in the future, dreaming about my husband retiring early from his very high stress job. So what we want to address today, and what I've been feeling, is that I think that there are a lot of people who have been watching their leaders who are, we've got 2 rubies and an emerald, and Sheila is a senior gold going ruby. And those are just the ranks that I know off the top of my head. And you guys think that's a little bit further than just sitting down here being an ambassador, thinking about going silver. How could I do what you're doing? And we want to impress on you guys that silver is really the first step. And it's also something that a lot of us strive for every month. We strive to bring 3 people on to continue to grow our business. So every month, we start at the beginning with you. Just like what you're doing, we are doing it too. You're not doing it on your own. And so let's talk about people's fears of jumping in. Can anybody tell me something, or all of us, anybody, unmute yourself? Give me a fear. Give me a reason why you would find a reason to not go. Go, Marge, go.
What will people think?
Yep.
That's a huge one. And you know what? It's something that probably every one of you has to cross the bridge over. And I think when you get to that teeter-totter of learning what the opportunity does and the products are doing, to how much do you value someone's opinion that doesn't understand it, right? That is the difference. That's where you're going to start to see someone's opinion who doesn't have the knowledge of what we now know about these products and about the opportunity, how life-changing they can be, is not going to pay my bills. Their opinion isn't going to make me feel well. Their opinion is not going to bring upon blessings that you can share with others. It's merely an opinion. And guess what? People only talk about you for 10 minutes and then they're on to someone else. Would you let that 10 minutes ruin your opportunity?
If it's 10 minutes, right?
If it's 10 minutes.
If it's 10 minutes. Carrie Wilkerson said, if they're not raising my babies, using my shower, sleeping next to me in the bed, their opinion doesn't matter. And I love that concept, right? If that's the person that matters, right? Or that's the one that matters, right? As long as I'm good, ethically, as long as my integrity is intact, it doesn't matter. And I think once you start to realize the magnitude of what you hold in your hands, it is not a little pink drink that's just pink and tastes delicious, because it does. What I love about this business, okay, now I've got my hands going, guys. So now I'm just going to start, right? This business, from the initial lowest point, like I'm talking retail, okay? Plexus can change the lives of anybody who does the product or does the business. It's not like you're selling, okay, I'm going to pretend like there's a direct sales company that sells rocks. It's not like you're selling rocks, because a rock is not going to change somebody's life, right? As beautiful as the plastic container is that puts my leftovers in, that's not going to change my life. It might keep my food fresher a little bit longer, but it's not going to change my life. The pretty little candle that I sit on my windowsill, that's not going to change my life. It's going to be pretty, but it's not going to change it. Plexus, from the very initial point, can absolutely 1,000% change somebody's life. It can get rid of their anxiety, their depression. It can get rid of their bills. It can get rid of their the job that they hate, that they think that they're going to have to be in for another 20 years. And it is an incredible blessing that we have the opportunity to introduce people to this. You know what? If they don't want the product or they don't want the opportunity, that's okay. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to something that, like Marge said, maybe they don't understand. And that's okay. We can give grace, and we don't have to be crushed when there's a no, because let me tell you, those of us who have been doing this longer, I guarantee you we have gotten more no's than you have. It happens. People say no to me all the time. It happens, and I'm okay. You know, there are some of them that sting, but you know what? I let myself have a 30-second pity party, and then it's done. And we're on to the next thing, because I don't have time for that. And I need to find that next person who this is going to change their life. This is my mission. This is what I have been given, right? And so I want to cast that vision a little bit for you guys, that this is bigger than us. Some people will say, well, I don't have a testimony. There's another fear of jumping in, right? I don't have a big testimony. That's okay. Don't wait to have a big testimony, because in the time that it takes you to get a big testimony, because we all know that it takes time, right? Your grandma could be off of her diabetes medication, or your sister could be dealing so much better with her anxiety and her depression, right? We're not compliant apparently on this call. Don't wait. That was something that I did. I waited. I wasn't going to share. And I find, looking at myself, and maybe it's different for you, but I found that it was really selfish looking back on it, because it was all about me. And I stepped out of that and decided that it wasn't about me, and that it was about everybody else. And I'm not going to push somebody over the edge to be like, you have to take Plexus. No, they're going to choose, and that's okay. They can choose, right? But if they don't know what their choice is, how are they going to make that decision, right?
I love that. Absolutely love that. I want to say a little bit something about what you talked about. They don't have to we don't have to push them to take Plexus. But when we start seeing, this isn't just about me, and I can totally relate back to what you're saying. Those 8 months that it took me to go silver, I didn't even try. People were watching me already. What if I had tapped into more of the people that were already watching and made that happen for them too? Because it wasn't just about me, but I had made it about me, right? Because I was sitting and thinking, oh, what are people going to think, right? I was having a hard time processing that. Now looking back, when you make that switch of this isn't about me, and like Janelle said, what if it's about that, you know, friend, sister, brother, daughter, cousin, whatever it is, getting off of antidepressants? What if that's like a massive gut health improvement, like it was for me, that my brain fog went away, my exhaustion went away, and I actually had energy to love my family in the manner that I had wanted to for years and wasn't able to, right? A lot of that becomes loaded guilt, and we start feeling guilty about, oh, I wish I could be a better mom. What if you can now help someone be a better mom, right? Then it's not about me at all. It's not about me at all. Then I have to step over myself, put myself aside and say, look, it's about them. Let's see what it will do for them. You know, if that can be them getting their products paid for, and the husband is healthier, the wife is healthier, guess what? You're helping make healthy marriages. Because we all know, yes, when you have healthy spouses, that creates a lot better marriages too. Better marriages Absolutely. Create better relationships with your kids. All those things are ripple effects of one person stepping out and saying, this is not about me. It's not Absolutely. About me at all. I love Absolutely. That to know.
Okay, so the other fear that I want to address really quickly is somebody saying, but I don't know how. Well, of course you don't know how, and that's great. You just need to know that you want to, right? We will supply the how. Your leader will supply the how. You just need to supply the I will, okay? So because you've never done this before, we need to give you an idea of what this looks like. There are videos that you can watch. If you're not involved in the Summer of Silvers group, you need to find it or ask your upline to add you to it. There's tons of awesome testimonies and hints and tips and those kinds of things. The one thing that you can do right now is start by opening your mouth. Call your mom, call your sister. If you have been on the product for 2 weeks, that's great. Phone up somebody and say, hey, you know what? I've been trying this. I love it. I want you to try it with me, because I'm not going to get a really great view of how this works for other people if I'm just one person trying it. I was just chatting with somebody today that she said she'd brought somebody on board, but she wasn't ready to start sharing the business yet because she needed to be a product of the product first. And I thought, well, that's great. But this person has a scientific background, right? She works in the health field. And so my suggestion is that we know scientifically that when you are wanting to look and see how this works for people, you want to get a much broader view of that, right? Having a study with just one person or 2 people involved in it, that's not going to give you a very good view of how this is going to work for a lot of people. So why don't we bring on 2 more people, 3 more people, and let's see what it does for all 4 of us, right? Let's talk, let's share, okay? So if you don't know how, if you are stuck, first, you need to ask yourself, have I really committed to the idea of doing this? If your answer is yes, absolutely, I want this so bad I can taste it, okay? Number 2 is you need to talk to your upline. If your upline is not, or you know what, maybe you've got an upline who is fairly new to the business as well, rope yourself into a 3-way chat with them and then their upline as well. This is what we are here for. We love helping other people. This is why we do what we do, right? And so we want to talk to you and we want to show you the way that we found and that we've seen it work for other people, right? We don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's a way to get this done and we'll get it done for you. And what I need to tell you is that my people, so Marge had a bunch of people that were watching her. And so when she started to tell people, they were probably fairly ready to accept it because they had been watching, okay? My 3 people who were my first 3 when I went silver, I didn't know 2 of them. And 1 of them lived 5 hours away from me. So they hadn't seen me and what it had done for me, but I reached out to those people. 1 person was the mom of somebody that I reached out to because he told her and then she found me. And so I shared with her. And then somebody was a member of a group that I was a part of, and I talked with them because they had reached out to the group in general and said, I'm having problems. Could somebody please help me? And I said, absolutely, I will. I'm sending you a private message. So I sent her a private message and she was my 3rd ambassador. So don't think that there are people that just need to be watching you, that need to be close to you. I had no clue that those 3 people, my mom wasn't even one of my 3 people that made me go silver. Family is good. You know, you can, grab your daughter, your sister, your mom, an aunt or whatever, and you can go silver that way. But just realize that if you don't have those relationships with your family, or if you don't think that they'll accept it, don't think that family is the only place that you need to go. Okay, Marge is going to talk
a little bit on that.
Yes, and then I'm going to tell you to talk about Monica's points really quick.
Okay, I want to expand a little bit on what Janelle was talking about, and that's your market. Sometimes we have a hard time seeing what our market is. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you're like, well, I talk to my kids all day. Who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to see? Where do I get out? How do I find people? You know what? It's so encouraging to see that your market is not about who you know. You know a certain amount of people, but it's about who they know. It's about who they are all connected to. So let's say you're a stay-at-home mom. You don't get out a lot in public circles. It's not like you're, in your kids' school or working or exposed to a lot of people. But you do know a certain amount of people. Everyone has their own market. Everyone has what we call a warm market. And those are the people that are in your life daily, maybe not daily, but in your life because you know them. These are your family, your friends, your kids' parents that you know, your warm market, people that know you by name. Those are the people that you start, like Janelle said, just open your mouth. Just tell them what you're doing. Hey, guess what? It's done for us already. We're really excited about where this is going. Tell them of a small win. Focus on your wins. Focus on the things that you are already doing and that you are seeing happening. So whether that be a small health victory, that you're sleeping better, that you have more energy, that you feel like you're not snapping at your kids so much, right? All those things are little wins. Focus on the wins and not on what you are not doing, right? There's enough self-doubt and there's enough doubt for everyone to get their full share. Don't tap into that. Focus on what you are doing good and what is happening already. So when you think of your market, think about who you know, and then look at that person and think about who they know. That's where the expansion is going to happen, right? Another great point is we can expand our market on social media, regardless
Absolutely.
of how remote you are, regardless of where you are. Me personally, we live in a very remote little town. I have a very, very small part of my team in my hometown, only a handful of people. You can grow this by growing relationships and by who they know, and always making more friends yourself, right? So a large part of my team is spread out across Canada, and we're also building a couple of different teams in the US. So it's not just about where you are. It's not about, oh, there's so many Plexus people in our town already. No, that has nothing to do with it. Guess what? Franklin, Tennessee is a teeny tiny little town. We have 8 diamonds in a town of just 1,000 people or more. Like, that is incredible. That's how you have to look at Plexus differently. We're not lugging our products along and selling our products. We're sharing what the lives are changing like and what's happening in their lives, right? So never limit the market to yourself. It's a business of duplication. Like Janelle said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not doing something that's never been done before. We're only following those that have had incredible success in doing what they've done. And that's, you know, sometimes we're going to get in the mindset of, oh, I can never do what she's doing. You know what? If you're going to look into personalities, and we talk about the 4 personalities, and maybe some of you have already tapped into this color coding of what we Plexus people do. Actually, a lot of people do this, and it's very common to set personalities. But if you look at different personalities, every personality has succeeded and been successful in Plexus. It's not a business for just certain people. It's not a business of certain personalities. It's a business for everyone. From a 70-year-old grandma being a Sapphire ambassador to a 23-year-old, what was the rank of the girl that we had last week advertised? Was she an Emerald? I forget what rank. She was like 21 years old and an Emerald.
Oh, yeah, I think it was an Emerald.
Incredible. Yeah. Think about the opportunity for a 21-year-old making a 6-figure income, right? What it takes is a love for people, a love for building relationships, finding more people. That's what it takes. Okay, did you want me to continue with some points on what we had gleaned from the other team, or did you want to say more to that, Janelle?
Nope, you go.
Okay.
I agree. I will affirm what Marge is saying. I live in a very small town. I don't get out a whole lot unless I'm on the road driving my kids from here or there. And 2, because my world can be fairly small, I decided that I needed to get out of that, right? Otherwise, I was going to be a very lonely individual. And I decided that for my own mental health, that this job or this opportunity that Plexus was going to give me was going to expand my horizons as far as relationships went. And I was going to be able to be a more balanced individual because of my ability to reach out through this and to build relationships with others. So that's all I wanted to add.
I like that. And it's true. It really grows us incredibly much when we get to know more people, when we expand our circles, when we take the walls down and allow other people to come into our lives and to mold us and to shape us to become better people, right? And that's essentially what happens as you're growing and as your team is growing, because you're always seeing more stories happening. You're always seeing different methods of success. You're always seeing genuine outreaches of caring and loving people and how effective it is, right?
Yes.
So a couple of things that have been standing out to me that, especially when, like, I've been in the business 2+ years, The first year obviously wasn't very busy. And then that fall, I actually decided to put my nose to the grindstone. And Lori and Wendy were doing a road to Kona. I think the Hawaii trip was at the Kona Islands then. And it was a 6-week training course that each week had an individual challenge. Oh my goodness, I was stretched from my top hair to my bottom toe. Every comfort zone was challenged. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself. Was it easy? No, it was hard. Did I get negative feedback? Yes, a lot. Did it work? Absolutely it worked. It was incredible. But you know what? I had to take myself out of the way and plow forward. So one thing that I did at that point in time, and where I can still look back and see where I decided what we were going to do, was I committed myself. Because at that point, I was starting to see that what we had been praying for the past 13 years was actually sitting at my feet. The business opportunity was becoming very real to me. I did not enjoy leaving my house, going to my work. My job was something I was good at. I did it. I loved people. I always said that I get out because I need people. I still need people. I'm more of a people person, but I have seen extreme introverts do very well in Plexus. That's amazing to me, right? Because we can be so flexible. So where I decided that I would commit myself was that Kona course. And when you're challenged and you've committed yourself, it's important to keep that commitment. It's important to say to yourself, when you least feel like doing something, I did commit, and how am I ever going to be successful if I'm not going to keep my word to myself? The first person you lie to is yourself. That's the very first thing that happens. You lie to yourself because you say that you're going to do it. You want to do it. You see the success at the other end of the line. But what is the biggest thing standing in your way? It's fear. It's fear. There's no way around, beside, under, over fear, but to go through it. Face it and do it. That's your action. That's your action. You have to have action. I love when Wendy Larson says, we believe what you do, not what you say. Wow. Yeah. So what are you saying to yourself? Are you doing what you're saying to yourself? So when I committed, I said to myself, I need to make enough that I can walk away from that job. It was a job that I was fully capable of doing. I did it and I came home and I did my job at home, right? But it was something that was taking up my time. It was taking up my family's time. It was taking a chunk out of my life that I could be investing in other people and pouring forth a lot more blessings, even if it meant some uncomfortableness, some fear facing that, right? So when you see people commit, they come on board. Some are immediately like, oh, I want to do the business. Yes, show me what you're doing. I want to be a diamond ambassador tomorrow, preferably. But guess what? It doesn't happen that way. So you'll see people come on board and this has possibly been part of my journey too, because you grow and you learn as your team is growing too. One thing you have to understand, that failing is not complete failure. Failing is learning. You only fail if you don't stand up and try again, right? Have I failed? I have failed tons of time. Have I done things that didn't work? Oodles of them. But what you keep doing is what works, right? So when you commit, things will get hard. Obstacles come. No's will come. Your doubt will be there. Self-doubt is probably the biggest thing that will actually kill your business, is your own self-doubt, right? So we did a lot of positive affirmations. Lori and Wendy are really good at pushing that. One thing that my level ones know that I will talk about is when I go to them and I say, okay, how can I help you? Where are you at? What can we do to grow your team? What are you doing? What does your daily day look like? How many people are you talking to? Whatever the questions are that we're talking about. One thing that I will say right away when they come back to me and they say, well, I'm not good at this and I do well at that, and oh, I suck at that. I'm like, no. I don't want to hear it. Please don't talk like that. I want you to tell me what you are good at. We all have strengths. We all have things that we are better at than others, but we have things that we call non-strengths. And you know what? You can focus on your non-strengths and never get anywhere, or you can focus on your strengths and grow yourself to become better in your non-strengths, right? It's not about what you're not good at. It's about what you are already good at. And that's, again, where each person in Plexus can work out of their own strengths. The beauty of this is you can bring people in that are better at things than what you are. And that strengthens your whole team. That's where our One Plexus comes in. Me and Janelle and Justina, we're all not connected in any way as to growing each other's teams. We're all sidelines. But we have developed a friendship and support and encouragement that will grow you like no other. So if you have an opportunity to be connected to your sidelines, to grow the culture in your team, to be talking to someone that you feel totally, what is the word that I'm looking for? Very
Inspired
uncommitted.
Oh, okay.
You're not committed to anyone's results. When I talk to Janelle, I'm not responsible for her results. She's not responsible for my results. But you know what? I can tell Janelle, hey, you're really good at that. I need to grow in that, right? And then we grow each other, because Justina is really good at, pumping encouragement into her team. She talks so well, and I'm just like, goodness, Marge, you need to do more of that. You learn so much from each other. Plexus has a One Plexus culture, and I'm I'm like Janelle yesterday. I'm just on a rattle here. You can't shut me up.
So good.
So when you commit to yourself first. That is one of the biggest things. Don't lie to yourself. Commit to yourself and start with what you have, right? The results will come. You'll see people sometimes say that they're committed, and then slowly their activity slows down, and you'll be starting to hear things like, well, it's summer. I'm very busy. I have a very big garden. My kids are home. Those are all things that happen in everyone's lives. Each one of us here does have a life and does have a very full schedule. We all do that. But when your commitment comes before your life in the manner of this will better our lives, right? It'll take a sacrifice. It'll take a sacrifice. I'm not saying that you have to put your family aside. I now have more time for family than what I ever had before. And I'm, part of an Emerald team. So previously, when I left at 8:30 in the morning and didn't get back until 4:30 at night, my family didn't see me at all, because they would call me and say, Mom, and I'd be like, I'm at work. I don't do that now. I'm still always here. That is the difference in what commitment can bring you to, right?
Hold on.
Don't wait for motivation. Okay.
Time out. Justina wants to show a book because she wants to go back for a second. Go ahead.
Yes.
Hey, were you still talking about going diamond and mindset and stuff? Because mine could be a little bit, so I want her to finish.
Okay. I'm not going to get into mindset. I want you to talk about it.
I just have something. It's gonna maybe be. I'm gonna try to keep it under 5 minutes.
Okay.
Good.
I beat you. Oh, you want me to do it now?
Sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So I've been thinking about something lately. About she was talking. Marge was saying something about diamonds. How. Yeah, I'm gonna sign up. What's your goal? Oh, I want to be a diamond, right? And you just think in a year. You read and watch all these amazing testimonies of how these ladies went to diamond in a year and how awesome that's going to be. You're going to be diamond in a year. And so, okay, I thought that too when I started working. I'm going to be a diamond. I'm going to be a diamond. So the only problem with that is, what kind of diamond did I want to be? I wanted to sign up a rock star, go to diamond, sign up 3 rock stars actually, and then I was going to go to diamond. It was going to be so easy, because that's what my view was. It was going to be so easy. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is not going to be so easy. I still have to work every day. I have to work. I have to be contacting people. And there was days I felt like quitting because I was moving so slow compared to the others. Well, it felt like average, but it's not average. So I wanted to say to you guys, don't be unrealistic. Don't think, I'm going to go to diamond and then sit back and hope you're going to sign up 3 rock stars. That's just not going to happen. That's not realistic. That's not how any job, this is still a job. It's just a job that is more, we can set the hour, we can set the time. And also mindset, you guys. This book right here, I'm going to tell you guys, all of you need to get this book. It is life-changing. I would say because we do what we think, 80% of our success for sure has got to be mindset. So as I'm changing my mind about myself, my self-belief, and in my team and everything, so is my business. It's just moving on up, right? My levels of leadership moves up and everything. So I'm just going to say, don't hope you're going to sign up Rockstars. I've literally seen a couple jewels where they've gone to Emerald because they signed up at Rockstar, but they sit there for years because they did no personal growth. They did no investing in themselves. You don't want to be that jewel. You don't want to be that jewel that just got there by accident. You want to be that jewel that invested in herself, that worked hard, that knew why she was where she's at, and that you can look at and think, wow, I worked for that, you know? And
Absolutely.
I have an amazing team, and my team is close to me. That is what kind of jewel you want to be, right?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to dream where you're at, right? So you might be shooting for silver this month. Having those dreams to go diamond and that kind of thing, that's good. Like, get that in your sight. Like Justina said, decide what you want to be. You know, do you want to have the personal development and the growth to be able to support a growing team? And that's what that's doing, right? Belief in yourself. I wanted to add something on to Marge. I know that we're getting really long here, and I apologize for that. But she talked about summer. She talked about summer being one of those times where, you know, you've got the garden, the kids are at home, you know, whatever. I want to give you two points of view on that. There will always be something that will come up that you can think is more important than doing what you need to do right now. Okay, so here are two different situations. So say, you know what, it's summer. I don't care. I can work in the nice weather. Do you see where my office is today? It's lovely, right? I'm still enjoying summer. I'm still getting my summer into me, right? But I'm not going to allow a summer to go past me, because every day out of 365 days in a year is valuable. Each day has an equal amount of value to it. It doesn't matter what day it is, okay? So these days just happen to be in the summer. And the days that what I'm putting into my days right now, they're going to affect the days that are to come. So, oh, and there's the lunch bell. Hilarious. There's a siren that goes off in our town every day at lunch. So funny. So picture with me, if you can, sitting in December, sitting at Christmas time. If you chose to start working your business right now, go silver in July, okay? So that's going to mean that you're going to start to get your product paid for. You're going to start to make an income. Maybe you're going to keep on going, because this, you know, helping people actually gets addictive. It's really great. It kind of pumps you up, right? So what would that look like sitting at Christmas time? Would that mean that maybe Christmas was a little bit easier this year? Maybe you have blessings that were never on your radar before the summer, with the relationships that you've built, people you were able to help, all of those things, okay? So picture what it would look like if you started today and you went silver in July and you started to press towards a bigger business. What would that look like in December versus sitting in December looking back on July and going, gee, I really wish I would have, because that bites. And let me tell you, as somebody who decided to put their feet up a little bit last summer and not do the work that I should have been doing, sitting back and watching people go off to a goal that I had set for myself. I wanted to go to Leaders Retreat last year. I had no idea how to do it. And so I turned inside myself, and I didn't go out like what we were talking about. Find your I will, and then let your leader help you find the how. I sat while my friends went to Leaders Retreat, and I watched them. And I said, I'm never doing this again. Never doing this again. And so I would encourage you to just be really real with yourself. If there are changes that you could see this possibly impacting your life, decide today to use the day to the best of your ability. Okay, Marge, do you have a couple other thoughts? Justine, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have anything else to say? I love that book. Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. I think everybody needs to read it. It's so encouraging. Write that down.
Incredible
Dr.
book.
Caroline Leaf.
I would say something, but it's really loud in here right now, so I'm just going to let it go.
Okay. You can type it if you want and we can read it. Personal growth books are fantastic. The idea of Switch on Your Brain is basically that you can change everything by connecting into your thought process. And you can change the outcome of things. You can even change your intelligence level by changing what you tell yourself in your mind. It's incredible. Okay, Marge, do you want to tell us a couple other golden nuggets and then we'll let everybody go?
Quick for a wrap up. A few different things. Motivation. You know, sometimes we are like, oh yeah, that's really cool, but we don't feel really motivated to do it. So we don't do anything. We don't act upon it, right? Sometimes we can't wait for motivation. So I talked about commitment. When you've committed, then you do it if you feel motivated or not. And I love the example that a lady used in Olympic trainers, right? Any person that goes for an Olympic sport, it doesn't have to be an Olympic sport, any sports person, in order to achieve a goal, they have to be consistent in training. They have to be consistent in doing it, not just when they feel motivated. Sometimes I feel motivated to go for a run, but my goodness, it sounds like a whole lot of work, so I don't. It's not going to get me anywhere, right? When you don't feel motivated, set a plan of action into place and do it anyway. Do it anyway. Yes. If you've set a plan of action into place and you've said, I'm going to talk to 2 people a day about Plexus, I'm going to do 3 follow-ups a day, and I'm going to find new friends every day. Do the simple things first. Do it if you're motivated or not, because that still keeps planting those seeds. And like Janelle says, in July now, which still may be bringing all that fruit by December, right? The last one is anyone can dream. I love when people dream big. We need to dream big because this opportunity is way bigger than what we can even fathom. But there's a difference between a dream and a vision.
Yes.
Big difference between a dream and a vision. So I can sit all day and say, oh, I'm going to write my dream life where I'm going to be at 5 years from now because I'm going to be a Plexus Diamond. I'm going to have a house on the beach. I'm going to have financial freedom and voila, right? But what are you going to do to get yourself there? Are you doing now what it's going to take to get yourself there 5 years from now? You need a vision. You need to be, your vision is intentional. It's something that you work on all the time. You see where you're going. It's a clear, detailed picture in your head, and it shows you every day where you're going. That is going to become a part of your why. Why do I do Plexus, right? You need that vision to get yourself into that motivation. You motivate yourself. You're not going to get motivated by not doing anything and watching other people bypass you, right? So if you create that vision, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired of leaving the house to work. I needed to create that vision to see myself at home, to see myself well. And both of those things happened because it was an intentional vision. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't just something that I talked about every day and wished that it would happen, but it has to become intentional, right? And it's the small things that add up to be big things. Create that vision, see where you're going, put those small things into action every day. All those little baby steps add up. Well, for me, they added up to becoming Emerald. Now I'm just looking at growing my team bigger and more because there's so many people that can do exactly and better of what I have done. Better, much better. Anyone can do what I have done. Don't tell me, oh, Marge, I could never do what you do. No. You can grow yourself. You can invest in yourself. You can motivate yourself. You can set a dream into place. You can put that into a vision, and you just put those baby steps into action. Start with silver. It's a small enough step that you can see, now I've started, right? Every journey is different, but your journey will be yours. It'll have to be intentional. And I know there's going to be an amazing amount of silvers this month, and I'm so excited for them. So very excited.
I'm so excited for that too. I just wanted to say something really quick. If you look at Marge and you say, Marge, I could never do what you do, you're actually right. But that's mindset, right? That it doesn't mean that it's set in stone and that you can't change that. But as long as you have that mindset, you're never going to go forward. So quickly, our action plan, I'm going to add on to what Marge just said. Just a quick recap. Address your fears, look them in the eye, and figure out how you're going to find a way around them. Mindset, find your I will. And then if you cannot find the how, ask your leader for the how. Get yourself into that summer, silver summer group. What is it? Summer of Silvers group. And dig in. IPA, like what Marge was saying, do something productive every day that's going to grow your business. IPA is income producing activity. It does not mean, chatting with people on Facebook all day and just looking to see what their dog is doing. And that's nice. And you can build relationships, but income producing activity is not watching kitty videos on YouTube. Okay? Positive affirmations. You need them. You absolutely need them. You will feel absolutely ridiculous. Positive affirmations are basically taking what you feel is negative about yourself and turning it into a positive that is actually going to push you forward. So for me, I struggle with organization. I just said to Marge the other day, I can be organized. That is one of my positive affirmations. I can be organized. I know I can be. I can be prepared for things, right? These are things that I tell myself. And the last thing, dream big, but have a vision, okay? Have a vision for what that big dream is going to be, and don't just assume that you're going to get there on a, wing and a prayer. There's got to be action with it. So thank you guys so much. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add to what we were just saying. Thank you for joining us. This is recorded, hopefully. It says it is. But we will be sharing this link too. Yep. Yeah, we'll be sharing the link so that you guys can share it with your downlines or anybody else who needs to listen. So, anything? We're good?
Christina.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. I can't wait to see a whole bunch of silvers.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Yeah.